Hey guys, how's it going? A couple weeks back, or I think it was like a week back, I told you guys I was finally going to do that Q&A video, and I wasn't joshing. So I asked you on YouTube to submit some questions for me. I've done this a couple times before, and gotten some questions, but you guys really came through this time. So I got a ton of great questions. So I'm going to try to get through as many of these questions as possible, and yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this. If you haven't had a chance yet to check out my newest video, the First Time with Girls in My Bedroom, I think it's called, or something like that, from 1990. Give it a look. YouTube, for some reason, turned off the comments on it. I think it's because I mentioned I was 12 in the video, and they, for the child protection thing, but not paying attention to the fact that it's 1990 when I was 12, and everyone in the video is pushing 50 now, so it kind of got lost in the algorithm, but I love the video, and it's a really hard one to edit because the tape was dying. But the comments are turned on now, so do me a solid, go check that video out. I really like it. I hate to see it get buried. Comment on it. It's bummed that I didn't get any comments because the comments were turned off for 2 days. Yeah, you'd make my day, guys. But yeah, as I said, I asked you guys for questions in regards to the videos and about people, places, things, and I got a bunch of them. So I'm going to just dive right in and start answering questions. Like I said, also, is I like to drink rare beverages when I do these, and I've been hanging on to this for a while. This is good stuff right there. This is old. This isn't 80s old, but this is old, so if I disappear, this did me dirty. So yeah, let's dig in like it's summer of 89 and have this Ecto Cooler, and then I'm going to start answering questions. All right, look at that. Watch, it's going to come up the show. I mean, sugar and water, how bad can it get? It still tastes like Ecto Cooler. This stuff doesn't die. All right, so let's dive in. Let's see what we got. Do you still own a lot of the horror posters you had back in the 90s, and do you still have that pinhead model you painted? I have a lot of the posters. I don't have all of them. I've bought a ton since then, too. The pinhead model, unfortunately, no. I moved out of that house, my parents' house, in 2004, and I think it was one of the things that just got, like, purged and got chucked. But most of those posters I still have. There's a couple, like Sleepaway Camp 3 and Scream Dream, that I wish I still had, but I don't. Yeah, but for the most part, I still have a lot of those. Would you ever consider doing movie reviews? I'd love to hear your thoughts on some of your favorite films. Are you still friends with the guy in the New Year's '98 video with the ponytail? You seem close, and I'd love to see a video of you guys shooting the shit in long form. Happy New Year. Thanks. Thanks for the nostalgia content. Thank you for watching. Unfortunately, the guy in the video who's in a ton of my videos, his name is Joel. I called him Son a lot. He passed away in 2015, but like we were like best friends since we were kids. I would love to I wish I could sit down with Joel and just talk about this. So many times when I'm editing these videos, I'm like, oh, I wish Joel was here so we could just sit down and reflect on some of this stuff. But yeah, unfortunately, he's no longer with us. Favorite films? My favorite movie of all time is John Carpenter's Halloween. I'm a big slasher guy, big horror guy. Would I do reviews? Maybe, yeah. There's a couple kind of things on the channel where I kind of like review, where I go and see like Halloween Ends or Halloween Kills and I talk about it. Were there video game experiences you felt were life-changing? I wasn't a huge video game guy later, but I was a huge Nintendo kid. When NES came out, like 3rd and 4th grade, I was like the quintessential Nintendo kid. Like I had a Super Mario Brothers sweatshirt. I'd hang out at recess with my friends and read Nintendo Power while kids played kickball. So like my video game experience is really like NES, but Joel, who I just mentioned, Son, he was a huge video game guy. So I remember like going to the mall with him and playing like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter 2, and he was really excited about Marvel vs. Capcom. So I kind of like was on the sidelines for a lot of that stuff, but the original NES, like 100% in. Nick, I first stumbled onto, okay, this guy's name is Woolsey Pictures. If that's a Matinee reference, good call. I love Matinee. It's probably my favorite Joe Dante. It is my favorite Joe Dante film. In fact, there's a video on my channel. If you look, Valentine's Day 93, we're going to see Matinee that day. He says, Nick, I first stumbled onto your channel last summer and have become a huge fan since. I understand that your passion for film eventually transitioned into a career as a programmer. How did you go about making that leap from fan to curator, and what challenges face the film industry today? Good question. I was a fan, so I was going to repertoire screenings, and the theater that I'm a programmer at, I just was a fan. They were doing rep stuff there first, and I would always talk to them like, you guys should do this. You guys should run that. You guys should run this. And eventually, they just kind of started inviting me. Like, I just got, like, on the email list. Like, I kind of, like, was folded in organically. All of a sudden, I was just there in programming. Like, when I was just a fan at first. And then I kind of, like, came on board because, like, I was giving so many ideas of stuff to run. What challenges face the film industry today? Well, for rep cinema, that didn't exist, like, in the early mid-90s. Not in the way it exists now. And Exhumed Films in Philadelphia was the first time that I had seen, like, someone doing that. And so I started going to those shows since show one, like, and it was amazing to see these movies that, like, I was too young to see in the theater, like Zombie and Gates of Hell, and finally get the opportunity to see these on film. Friday the 13th Part 3D, that was, like, always a dream of mine to see on film. And they were the only ones doing it. So every month it'd be like, what are they going to show? What are they going to show? Now there's so many people doing it. And it's kind of like all the rocks have been overturned. It's like, I feel like I've seen all the stuff I dreamed about seeing on film like 3 times over now. So saturation, film in general, I mean, that's a bigger discussion. I miss when movies were just fun. Like, why can't movies be fun? Why has everything got to be a morality message? You don't see a movie like Dude, Where's Your Car anymore. Everything kind of like is manufactured a little more. That's the way I feel about it. I mean, there's good shit out there, but it's not the same. Independent films aren't really independent anymore. I miss going to the city and just seeing like little micro budget movies. So okay, not really a question, but maybe do a filming location retrospective video. I know you still frequent some of the same places, but maybe some of the ones like the gas station where your buddy was watching Spice, LOL. Yeah, that gas station's gone. I think it's a cell phone store now. It used to be a Texaco, unfortunately. I'm thinking about doing an Exton Mall video because I feel like that's going to fold soon. I also appreciate the content, especially before I graduated in 97. Me too. Yeah, I'd love to do more of that kind of stuff. Visit locations, see how they are now. A lot of stuff's gone, though. Like, Granite Run's gone. The AMC Granite Run's gone. That's definitely something I would do, though. Was it hard leaving that awesome loft at your parents' house, which is where you have countless hours of video on this channel and from all those memories? Really hard. It's weird because I moved out in 2004 with my girlfriend, and then my family also sold that house like 2 months later. So once I moved out, I didn't even have like that opportunity of like coming back for holidays and revisiting my room. Like when I was gone, the house was gone. I always had this dream that like someday like I'd get enough money and buy that house back and like rebuild that room. Yeah, I miss that room a lot. I'd love to go back there. That's a location I would like to revisit. If there's somehow I could get in that house and just walk around again, that'd be really cool to see. Yeah, I miss the house a lot. How was the transition from graduating high school to those 18 to 21 college years? Did you go to college, or was there stress about trying to figure out what you wanted to do for work? Yeah, there was stress for sure. I didn't go to college. I took my fall semester off after I graduated high school, which would be fall of 97 if you watch the channel. That was a great fall. That was one of my favorite times in my life. I talk about fall of 97 a lot. Fresh out of high school, I had freedom. I was in a relationship I was really, really into at that point, which you see on the channel. I was really excited about stuff going on. Like Scream had just come out that winter before, so we had I Know You Did Last Summer and Scream 2 coming out. It just like, everything was coming up roses. Then that relationship fell apart and I went like dark for a while. That was like kind of a dark time for me. I kind of like dated a lot, but I was like serial dating, just kind of looking for a replacement for the thing that had made me happy. I did go back to school that spring, but like in and out, you know, kind of focused just on hanging out with my friends more. So it was tricky. I missed my friends. I did have a lot of friends that had moved away. And I had friends that stayed. Like Joel and I were friends since we were kids, but we kind of reconnected post me graduating high school and started hanging out a lot, like every day hanging out. And you see that on the video that he pops up a lot, like 97 on. Yeah, I was one of those dudes that loved high school. Like I had a lot of fun in high school. I had a really good friend group. I got along with everyone. So it was weird when everyone left. What's the one thing you miss the most about the 90s? Okay, there's a couple questions here. What's the one thing I miss the most about the 90s? Just one? This bleeds into the universal kind of social media ruining everything kind of comment, but I kind of miss how in the moment everyone was. And I work with younger people, and I try to explain to them, like, you don't understand, like, every generation says it's better when I was younger. I'm like, it really was better. I'm like, I'm so thankful that my formative years were in the pocket of time they were, because I couldn't imagine growing up now. You don't see people romanticizing like the past 20 years like they do the 80s and 90s. Like almost all media now, it's like Stranger Things or whatever, or it's always romanticizing the 80s and 90s. And I think it just was a time where you really locked into being with your friends. Everything was one-on-one. Everything was real. I was rewatching Richard Linklater's Suburbia last night. In that movie, it's like they're just hanging out in the parking lot of a convenience store all night. And that's what you did. That's what I do with my friends. You watch my channel. It's like, we'll drive to 7-Eleven, hang out at 7-Eleven. We just drive around from shopping center to the mall. You debated stuff. Like, you couldn't just Google it right away. You might be, like, sitting in a pizza shop with your friends, and you'd be like, when did this happen? You might sit there for 40 minutes debating on when it was that this movie came out or this band came to town, and now you just Google it and it'd be done in a second. So I kind of miss that slow, in the moment kind of thing. If you're just talking stuff from the 90s, then I miss Crystal Pepsi, I miss Carnation Instant Breakfast Bars, thriving malls, people not politicizing everything like they do now. Is there a story behind Sal's Pizza and why your friends mentioned it a lot? Yeah, that was like an inside joke of ours. We had a whole backstory made up for Sal's Pizza, so it pops up. I'm probably not going to get into it here, but yeah, it was just this big running joke we had from 8th grade all the way through high school. So yeah, there's backstory. Are you still documenting your life as much now as you used to when you were younger? Now being much easier with phones at our fingertips. Exactly. It's a lot easier now, but it like takes some of the magic out of it. I documented back then. I was always a documenter when I was a kid. I wrote journals and I recorded audio tapes before I would film stuff, and I took pictures. And then when I got access to a video camera, I started filming everything. But it was like, at first it was just setting it up on a tripod and filming my room with my friends, doing sketches and stuff when I was like 11. And then it's like, no, I want to document the things I do that aren't documented. Like, no one brings a camera to the movies. I go to the movies and have a blast when I'm at the movies. I want to capture that so I can relive it. Now everyone kind of does it, so it kind of is like white noise. And it's like, I do it for me, and yes, I still do document, but not on the level I used to. It's everywhere now. You can go and you go to a concert. I can go home from the concert and go on YouTube, and the entire show is on YouTube. I don't have to film anything. Like, someone else, 20 other people have filmed it and put it on YouTube, so it's not the same. So I don't do it as much, but I still do it. What was AOL and MTV like during the late 90s, and what were some popular bands, musicians that played on MTV? Late 90s? Okay. Well, AOL was dial-up, so you had that dial-up sound, and stuff took a really long time to load. I remember getting AOL in 96, and one of the first things I visited was the Craft website, because that was right when that movie came out. And it would take so long just for the pictures to load. It would be less blurry, a little less blurry, a little less blurry, and then 20 minutes later you have like a picture. It's not even high res. But you worked for it, MTV in the late 90s. Pop punk, like lots of like Green Day, Offspring, that stuff had gotten big. Ska had that little window of time in like 97, 98, so you had stuff like Real Big Fish. I can't remember when TRL started. I feel like that was more like early 2000s, like 2000, maybe 99, 2000. That's kind of when I was fading out of MTV. I watched a lot of MTV in like 92 to like maybe like 98. It was better back then. They played music videos. The shows were good. Beavis and Butthead I watched all the time. The State, which is still my favorite sketch comedy show of all time. It was better. That's what it was. AOL was worse. MTV was better. Do you like Weezer's The Green album? What do you think of Weezer's album since? Okay, so Weezer, I've said this is my favorite band. It's this first 2 records. Pinkerton's my favorite album of all time. That album still, I've listened to it thousands of times. I can listen to those songs and just like feel them still. It like speaks to that point, my like, angsty time, like that post breakup in 97, that angsty time in your like early 20s. And it's like, I can still feel that album's noisy. It feels emotional. I love that record. When Green came out, I was pumped. Like counting down the days, and it came out. And I remember at the time thinking, I'm like, is this Rivers like punking us? Is this like a joke? Like, this is so simple and so stripped down and so undercooked that, and so insincere. I'm like, this can't be the guy who wrote Pinkerton coming off of that. And then, you learn that, like, he wanted to make that, like, make something that was like that. I like it now more as, like, a product of its time. It's a fun summer pop punk album. Hashpipe's a great single. I like Knockdown Drag Out a lot. Everything post Pinkerton has kind of been like this. There's some ups and downs. I like the White Album a lot. I think that's a good, like, Blue Part 2, but not as good as Blue. And I like the Seasons things a lot. I like Summer, which everyone hates because of the production, but I think it's great. And I love the Winter Seasons EP as well. There are some misses. Worst Weezer albums for me, Black Album. Pacific Daydream has some hits and misses. I'm not big on Hurley. I think Red's a big misstep. Like, it has high highs, but I hate the lows. The low lows on Red were kind of what Weezer maintained as, like, a standard for a while, and that's the stuff that I don't like the Cool Guy Rivers, like, kind of rapping stuff. I hate that stuff. But I'm a die-to-the-wool Weezer fan, so, like, I like all of it. I'll support Weezer till the day I die. In one of your older Christmas videos, I can't be sure, but I think your dad said he was making fish and chips. He was just joking. Is that accurate now? My dad was, like, funny. He had a very dry sense of humor, so he would just say stuff like that. Also, in your current post, you say a lot about your mom, but not about your dad. Is he still with us? No, he passed away in 2005. Sorry if this is intrusive. Not at all. Not at all. Thanks, dude. Love all your content. Thank you. What do you think would happen to the horror genre if Scream wasn't made in the 90s? And what is your favorite scary movie soundtrack? Favorite scary movie and favorite soundtrack? That's a good question. Horror was dead before Scream. And I was a diehard horror fan, so you looked for those nuggets. You go to the video store, I'm like, all right, I'm going to rent the straight-to-video Children of the Corn 5 sequel, or Urban Harvest Part 3, or Pumpkinhead 2 Blood Wings, or, like, you just scrounged for, like, anything. You'd go see, like, all right, Wes Craven's got a new movie out. I guess I'll go see Vampire in Brooklyn. And we went to Scream opening night, like, all right, Wes Craven's got a new movie. It's going to suck because all horror movies suck. And we were blown away. Like, I remember us watching that opening scene where Drew Barrymore was getting chased by a killer in a mask, so, like, 80s. And me and my friend were, like, whispering to each other, cut. Because we were sure that they were filming a typical slasher in a movie, and then we're going to pull back and see if they were just making a movie, and then it was going to turn into some boring detective drama. But no, that was the movie, and we, like, loved it. We walked out of the theater, and we're like, we want to go right back in and see it. We saw that movie, I think, probably, like, 10 or 11 times in the theater. And then, so that's why when Scream 2 came out, it was, like, pinnacle. We were so pumped, because, like, horror's back, slasher movies are back. And then, I think, like, before Scream, Candyman was the only other thing, like, I loved, like, in the 90s. There's other things I liked. Like, I like Pet Sematary 2 and all that, but Candyman was the other, like, solid movie. And then Blair Witch Project at the end of the 90s. Those three movies, I think, kind of, like, define the 90s and a good 90s horror. What's your favorite scary movie? Like I said, Halloween. I love Sleepaway Camp as well. That's one of my favorite horror movies. My friend that I saw Scream with, we rented that in the early 90s. It was a great movie. Favorite soundtrack? This is hard. The Craft, probably. I bought that right after I saw it and would listen to it on my Walkman instead of doing gym class, because I wouldn't bring my gym clothes. So I could, like, sit behind the shed and just, like, listen to my Walkman. And I would listen to that Craft soundtrack over and over and over again in 11th grade. It's a great soundtrack. But there's so many good. Like, I love the Scott Pilgrim soundtrack, Natural Born Killers, Dazed and Confused. The Runaways has a great soundtrack. Like any of Tarantino's soundtracks. But yeah, I'm going to give it to the Craft. Craft's my favorite soundtrack of all time. Do you have any creepy, spooky experiences from the back in the day? I have to think about this, because I feel like I do and I'm not thinking of it. When we were in high school, we used to always look for, like, the urban legends, and there were these tunnels in Downingtown, PA called the Twin Tunnels that were supposedly haunted. And cars would drive through them, but they were, like, really dark, so we would drive down there at night, park on the side, and then walk into them, and it was really eerie. And then we also had another local legend called the Gates of Hell in Downingtown, which was this house abandoned on a hill, and we would walk up there. I'm trying to think if I had any spooky encounters. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I feel like I'm going to stop doing this video and then I'm going to remember. I'm like, why didn't I tell the story of this? If I do, I'll get back to you. Are there any other upcoming videos of you going to the movie theater? Tons. Dude, like, the fraction that's on there is like this, and I have like this. I'm just trying to pepper those things out. I don't want to do, like, boom, 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 boom. But, like, yeah, like, I know we did last summer. I have one coming up soon where we're going to see the Very Brady sequel from, like, 96 at the same theater I saw Halloween 5 at, so it's a little 2-screen. Tons. I have tons of I'll never run out of that stuff. How did you become a film programmer? I just told that story. What struggles do you face? Same thing, kind of running out of stuff to show too. Like I was so excited the first year I was a film programmer, because I'm like, we could show this and this and this and this and this, and then you kind of show everything, and then you get to a point 13 years later, I'm like, well, we could show this again. Also, how did you know your wife was the one? You just feel it, you know, like, I like spending time with her. That post-97 relationship, like, I think all my relationships, I would get bored very easily and move on. I think I was constantly searching, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, this isn't that, this isn't that. And I just liked being with my wife, like, you know what I mean? Like, I had fun with her, like, it was what it was, you know? You just know. Please upload more footage from the 2000s. Love those things. I have tons, again. I'm nowhere near running out. Like, I don't know if, like, you know, if stuff slows down, if you think I'm at, like, I'm, like, a fraction. I'm like 1% of the 90s, 1% of the 2000s that I have up there, so you guys, don't worry, there's more coming. He is hot. Me? Thank you. If not, then someone else. I'm assuming me. I'll take the compliment. Hey Nick, hope you had a great holiday season and great start to the new year. Here are some questions, suggestions. What 4 songs would be on your Mount Rushmore of Weezer's discography? Okay, so like I said, Pinkerton is my favorite album of all time, so I'm not going to just pick 4 Pinkerton songs, but Falling For You is my favorite song of all time, and that's on Pinkerton. Then I would say The Good Life, which is also on Pinkerton. Then maybe like Only in Dreams and Say It Ain't So. But if I were to throw in a song that isn't from the first 2 records, maybe I would say Post-Pinkerton Slob. I really like that song. Especially the Summer 2000 live version that's longer. It's pretty epic. I like Slob a lot. But yeah, we'll go with those 4. Did you see any bands perform in the 90s? So which ones? Tons. Lots and lots of bands in the 90s. My first concert was Screaming Trees, Soul Asylum, Spin Doctors. Then I saw 9 Inch Nails. Then I saw the Dead Milkmen and Dead Milkmen at the Truck. Then I saw Bad Religion at the Truck. I saw Fugazi at the Truck. I saw the Foo Fighters a couple times. I saw Green Day. I saw Weezer. I saw the Ramones twice. Like literally probably hundreds of shows in the 90s. Lots of punk. Lots of ska. I was like big into ska. So the Boston's, Real Big Fish. So Rancid in New York. How long is it taking you to convert all your tapes to digital? I haven't converted everything yet. I kind of do it as I go, and then I kind of create like schedules. So I have like 2 months of worth of stuff backlogged and scheduled, and then I will kind of constantly be editing and adding to that. So I just have a fraction of stuff converted. Sometimes it's really easy to convert something. Sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes the tapes are wonky, like the one I just did, like I talked about, like first time having girls in my room. It had jitters in it, so it would have to rewind, record. So I ripped that like 20 times just to make that 7-minute video. Please go watch that video, guys. I'm so bummed that that got buried in the algorithm because of YouTube turning off my comments. And comment on it. Like, you know, I was like real excited about that one. It's the video I just posted right before this you're watching. So yeah, that's it, man. Thank you so much. You guys like really came through with these questions. I didn't know what to expect. I've done a couple of these Q&A videos before, and I'd get like a handful of questions. I plan on doing more of these. If you have more questions, again, like, you know, just put them in the comments. I'll probably do one of those videos, like thread me more. If you have any more other questions, comment on this video with it, and I'll try to get back to you. Oh, I had another idea too. I'm gonna run it by you in the comments. Please tell me what you think about this. I was thinking about doing another thing where, like I said, I used to journal. I used to keep journals like this. Remember those? And I would just like write about, going to movies and stuff. Look, I'd save my receipts. I was thinking about doing something where if I don't have video of something, maybe like reading from my journal and then putting pictures. I probably have pictures from things I didn't read, and like kind of putting pictures over it and telling the story. Would that be something you guys would be interested in watching? Let me know, because I have like 20 of these too. So guys, thank you so much for watching. If you don't subscribe, please subscribe. This has been a lot of fun. So if you have more questions, just shoot them off to me, and I'll try to answer them in the comments or in the next video. Thanks, guys.